getting to the point where we can be, the brand for supplements in pet that, whether it's a puppy, an adult, or in between, they have something that, goes along the whole way. I think that's where we're kind of hoping to carve out our little space, I guess.
Big space, I think that sounds like a very big opportunity. Thanks for joining us here at the Summit. This is Phil's Adventures podcast, where we talk to amazing entrepreneurs, leaders, and executives from around the world about their journey and their personal summit. Today we're here with Oliver Bristowe, who's the founder of Pets Purest, one of our portfolio companies here at Phil's Adventures. And it's really great to kind of finally get you sat down and hear your story. Obviously we invested in Pets Purest earlier on this year, and you joined Phil's Adventures as part of one of our members. So we love the business, but I think it's a great opportunity to kind of dive into the detail a little bit.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Yeah. So talk to us. When did you start Pets Purest with Evie, and how did that all come about?
We saw an opportunity because Evie had a couple of pet dogs, and they always had bad skin and things like that, and thought we wouldn't put chemicals in ourselves. So why would we do it with our dogs? So we were looking around and seeing what we could use, and a lot of chemicals and things like that. And we found a few natural products, and I think the first one was salmon oil that we tried on the dogs, gave them that, and then the skin was a lot better and that kind of thing. And then from that, matching up the Amazon side of it, kind of thought there's not really anyone doing lots on Amazon with it, so we put two and two together and decided to launch Pets Purest, a natural pet care range, on Amazon firstly, and then grew it from there, I guess.
And basically it was yourself and your wife until very recently. How did you work together? Did it work, or what happened?
I started, and then once it got to a point where we could get Evie involved, Evie got involved, and then I think probably luckily not too long after that we had our first child. So I guess the difficult thing was working together. When you're at home, you're used to both being equal, and then as soon as you throw an environment of someone's got to tell someone to do something, it just becomes a bit there's a bit of a thing there. So I think we got through it, but luckily not too soon after we had a baby, and then Evie, she looks after the kids now, and I think she can leave me to crack on with my computer. So I think that it was more of just a hierarchy thing that is different when you're working together than it is when you're at home. So that was the only thing to overcome, but it's all good fun.
Amazing. And you're growing the business, along comes your first child. Mm-hmm. How do you do both at once? How do you become a dad and scale a really successful business?
Luckily, it had always been a lifestyle kind of business. It had never been, I'd kind of put off the whole serious corporate thing as long as possibly could. So the big change was obviously when our first daughter came along, and just the time thing was I had to be a lot stricter in terms of when I was working, and kind of cutting off at certain times and things like that. Just being a bit more structured, because before that I could, if I wanted to work one day and just do it, through the night or whatever, then you could. But as soon as you've got a daughter, I think that's the biggest change, is just managing your time well, I guess, and making sure you put time in for family side.
And so in Amazon, how big did you grow your business to before we invested?
I think we got to, it was about 6 million turnover.
Wow.
I think
that's just you basically.
A lot of outsourcing stuff. So but I think in terms of the payroll, it was only me and Evie on the payroll.
Wow.
But just kind of outsourced as much as possibly could, because kind of had always put off as anything too serious and hiring team members and all that stuff. So it was just the two of us with outsourced agencies and freelance and things like that. So that was it.
Amazing. And this was predominantly Amazon at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how much of your business was Amazon versus?
It was 98% probably.
Right. So it's
Amazon,
basically an Amazon business.
Amazon,
Okay.
Yeah.
And obviously we met. Obviously we loved the story. We loved what you were trying to do. How's life changed since then?
Practically, the biggest thing is having a team and that kind of thing. I guess the other thing is just opening myself up to a lot of different challenges, I guess. Quite easy to just be on my laptop, do what I know I'm doing, and just kind of focus on that. I think the last year has been a lot of new experiences and new things to, I guess, learn from scratch. So hiring a team, never done that before. The last year has just been a big learning curve on doing that. So I think, the biggest change really has just been different experiences and trying new things out and having to figure out how to do them and overcome it, I guess.
I think, one of the big things is that hiring your first team, right? A lot of people watching this going, God, that's like a big step.
Yeah.
Sort of looking back now at that year and doing that, what were the things that went well and what didn't go so well?
Funny, because everyone you speak to says it's the hardest thing, and like, here's my tips, but even with that, you still, I guess, make the same mistakes everyone else does. So the first thing was, I was almost willing to like take anyone who would like take me. Do you know what I mean? Because it's been the whole time on my own, and just in the spare bedroom, I was like, why would anyone really want to come and work, for a one-man band, or essentially. So I think, initially it was just kind of willing to, sounds bad, but like let anyone through the door almost. Like, you just kind of you take who you can get, and then kind of fast forward to 12 months now, it's like being a lot more selective on who setting the bar a bit higher, I guess, in terms of who you think is going to really like move the needle on your team. So not just someone who you think. I think with hiring recently, it's been, if I think they're only going to do a similar job to what I would do, then there's no point having them. I've got to think they're going to do it like 10 times better than what I could possibly do. So I think, being a bit more selective and taking a bit more time and not just getting anyone involved.
It's tough, isn't it? Honestly, I think.
Like, what did you do? Like, because you were pretty young with your first team, weren't you? So how did you find it?
I think what you said before, you have to make the mistakes yourself a lot of the time, and every business is different. And the reality is, depending on what stage you're at, you need a different team, a different set of capabilities, and one thing I don't agree with is like you hire a top team and they're the right team all the time. You need to like pivot and change. But I think I've made every single mistake in the hiring book, and everyone comes to me and says, they know how to do it well. It's not true. I think people are the biggest asset, but the biggest liability in the company in a way. If you find the great people, then you can do amazing things. But one person can drag a whole team down. So I think this is it's a real tough one. So what? Obviously, looking back to next year now, what are your key priorities for the business? What are you trying to do? What's your vision?
I think now, changing from when we first took the investment and kind of just thought, let's just go at everything. Like, now we've been a lot more focused, and what we're looking to do for the next year is really focusing on where we see the key areas of growth, and rather than just thinking, because there are so many we could go at, and like we've kind of wasted time on loads of stuff. I think really focusing on what those like key things are is what our focus is for the next kind of year, 2 years going forward. I think obviously the kind of Amazon UK side is, it's a few years ahead of everything else. So that kind of just managing that, looking at the EU, looking at the US, and then on the D2C side, complete learning curve for me, and like finding out what the actual things are that we need to, I guess, track on the D2C side, because it's so different to Amazon. Different ways of growing on D2C. So I think it's like we've almost had like a free hit for the last year to kind of just test a load of things and see what works, see what doesn't, and then really focusing on the things that did work going forward and pushing those. In terms of like a long-term vision, looking at the opportunities are and going at them and seeing how well we can do it, I guess, rather than thinking 5-10 years time, don't know, see what happens. But the main thing is just enjoying time with my family whilst running a business. I
mean, from the outside, it looks like you really figure out how to make that balance of kind of work-life balance, really, and a lot of founders struggle with that. Do you have to proactively think about it? Does it come naturally to you, or how do you have this amazing work-life balance?
I don't know. It's weird you say that, because I feel like I struggle with it as well. Like I don't feel like I've got figured out at all. I guess I'm probably quite good at spending the time. My difficulty is like when I'm spending the time is like being able to switch off whilst I'm doing it. So I think quite strict in terms of like, I guess when I'm thinking about it, I just think in the grand scheme of things, like in 5 years' time, am I going to worry about missing this work thing over a holiday with the family? Like I'm always going to choose the family first, because making memories with my young kids is like better than anything kind of thing. So I always kind of like try and think of it that way. But my big thing is just being able to switch off in the moment, I guess, and be cliche, isn't it? But be present when I'm spending time with my kids. But I don't feel like I struggle with it as well. I think having Evie, making sure she's like pulling me in the right direction helps as well. But I think I obviously enjoy working like enjoy the game aspect of growing a business and things like that. That's how I see it. But I also do enjoy family time as well. So it's not like I'm with my family thinking, oh God, I wish I was doing that. When I'm on holiday after a few days and I switch off, I'm like, I'd much rather be doing this. So I guess I enjoy it more than the day-to-day running of a business. So it's just making sure find the time for both, I guess.
And now you've got this team and you know the business is motoring. How have you had to change as a leader or become a leader essentially? Has that been difficult, easy? How do you think about that?
Yeah, pretty hard. It doesn't come naturally to me at all, and I think I'm definitely not there at all yet. Just something I was speaking with Maisie and the team yesterday about having to do like a end of year presentation and like try and inspire everyone for the next year and stuff like that is just like not my bag at all. I'm like dreading it. Just a complete learning curve, because obviously a year ago didn't have to worry about it at all. I was, I guess, executing a lot of the stuff with the help of outsourced. Now it's having to get other people to do the execution to the same kind of standard, and without those 5-6 years of experience of doing it yourself, they don't have that. So like it's getting them to be able to, I guess, think in the right way and make decisions that it's hard because you can't hold them to the same account because you've got 6 years of experience of doing it day in, day out. So I guess that's the big struggle for me at the moment is going away from executing it and knowing I can do it myself to getting a team to do it and inspiring them. That I guess, find it pretty hard, to be fair, and I don't think I've got it figured out. But I think having like a good core team around me, and like we've been reaching out to a few other advisors along with obviously yourself and the guys at Fearless. Like I think just having those touch points to help you along the way is a good thing. Got some good role models to look at. So,
I think mentorship's really important, right? And you need different people, different moments, and so on. I think also this whole when you create a team, you have to accept a certain amount of wastage in a way, but you've got to believe that actually what you're building is bigger than bigger than what you had before, essentially. But you need to. So it's a conviction point, right? So that's really interesting.
Because I think I came into it as like, right, it was one person a year ago. It's now 8. Going to be 8 times as big, but it obviously doesn't work that way. I think we're getting a lot of things in place that will help us scale, obviously, and that takes time and learning. So getting there, but still a lot of way to go.
And what's your proudest moment in the journey so far?
I think obviously like the times thing's pretty cool. Like I can like look at that and think, if I'm telling like my daughters when they're a bit older, we were in the times fast. That's a pretty cool thing to say. But at the time, it wasn't like I was like dead excited. It was just came along and was
milestone.
But I don't know in terms of there's not anything that stands out. Unfortunately, I don't know. It's probably I don't know what that says about me, but.
A lot, but like the thing is, every day you're trying to make the business better, right? And it's like incremental, small steps. There's never normally like a big step, right? It's every day.
Probably some like glaring thing that like Evie will be like, oh, I can't believe you didn't mention that, but I don't know.
And what do you want to do long term? Like, what's your personal aspiration?
I think the only thing I've got at the moment is quite conscious of it is how quickly my daughters have grown up, especially Margot. Like she's 3 now. She's like a young teenager, so like it's just outrageous how fast. I think my main thing is just making sure that I enjoy that time, and in 5-10 years time I don't look back and think, oh, I wish I think I'm definitely conscious of that and making sure that the time now is kind of the best time with them, and it always will be as they grow up, but you don't get that time back, so just making the most out of that is the biggest thing for me, I think.
Do you think being a father has changed the way you view the world and the business that you're trying to create, or
definitely
legacy,
changed me,
believe?
Like, in terms of like emotion and things like that, like with having daughters just completely changed me, and priorities obviously change, and everything now is for them, and like nothing else really matters. So like that's always, I guess, that's going to influence a lot of decisions, and if that's the mindset, it's just that's all that matters, and everything kind of comes from that, I guess.
So you got this amazing team now. You're motoring along. What would you say that the core values and the culture of the business you're creating are?
It's hard, isn't it? Because like you don't want it to be too contrived, but you need some kind of like guidance, I guess. And I think, I guess one of the big things for me was like the kind of constant improvement and just learning from stuff. If we go back and see what the products and the website looked like a few years ago, like absolutely terrible. And you only get to, better by constantly improving things like that. So I think one of the key things is just learning from whether it's mistakes or just whatever. It doesn't have to be a mistake, just improving on things that you've done in the past. And the tricky thing is like making sure they have the confidence to give stuff a go and like if it goes wrong, it's fine. It's just making sure that you're learning from it and it's not going wrong every single time, I guess. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me.
And obviously, the world's in a strange place at the moment. Everyone's talking about, our consumer brands are going to be under pressure, people trying to save money.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that in the pet sector, and kind of, are you seeing any of that, or?
I just see so much opportunity in what we can do. So that kind of, there is all that going on, obviously, but in terms of what I'm looking at and focusing on, there's so many opportunities for us out there. So I tend to just focus on the opportunities and know that there's lots to go at rather than worrying about all that stuff, I guess.
What's the next phase of how you develop the business? What do you need to do?
Yeah, I think focusing more on like what we're offering as a brand, and one thing we kind of focusing on a bit is rather than it being a problem-led approach, more of like a lifestyle preventative kind of thing. Because at the moment, a lot of our products are targeted, if you've got a problem, you buy this product. Whereas I think for us, if we can kind of change the mindset of people that, like you do with humans, obviously you take vitamins and things like that to supplement you along your life journey, and your lifestyle comes into that. Things change, you take different supplements. I think getting to a point where we can be, the brand for supplements in pet, that, whether it's a puppy, an adult, or in between, they have something that, goes along the whole way. I think that's where we're kind of hoping to carve out our little space, I guess.
Big space. I think that sounds like a very big opportunity.
Hopefully.
And in terms of your own personal summit, what does that look like? Are you there? Have you reached it? Is it to come? How do you feel about that? Big question.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I've never really thought of anything like that personally. It'll just go back to family again, like a lot of the questions I've done, to be fair. But yeah, I think just making my daughters better than what I was.
Yeah.
At the end of it, like if I can, look back and they have a great life, and like I think what I want is for them to enjoy what they do rather than just doing it, doing a job for a job's sake. I'd rather if they can like enjoy what they're doing and grow up just being happy. That's all that matters, really. So I think that's the one thing. I think personally, I've probably, like, money was a big I guess thing to get me to the start, and then when you get you grow a business a certain size, you're like, it doesn't matter at that point. And then I think for them it's like they can do things and enjoy them, and nothing else really matters, I guess.
Yeah, I think you're the one of the most authentic leaders that I've ever met, because you are very kind of clear about what's important to you. And do you think net that actually is a real positive for the team that work with you, because they really understand you as an authentic leader?
I guess I probably need to be a bit more open with them about it. I wouldn't say like I talk to them in this, like, I don't sit down and have these kind of conversations with the team. So I guess that's probably something to learn, is like just having the opportunity to be a bit more, relaxed and chat about stuff that isn't work related. I think it's quite easy to just like come in, do what you need to do, crack on, and then not actually spend the time. I guess is that I'm still in the mindset of like, you just come in, do what you need to do, but not everyone works like that. And finding that way to, I guess, give the team more of like a rounded leader rather than just someone who has an idea of what opportunities there are and how we could do it. Like there's a whole other area to being a leader that not even scratch the surface, I guess. So that's one thing I can put on that list, I guess.
Still early days, but Thanks, Ollie. Amazing story. And, as I said before, the authenticity of kind of your values come across so much in terms of the business you built, the brand, and why you're here, which is, very refreshing. So thank you very much. And everyone, I hope you enjoy watching this. Ollie is a fantastic entrepreneur. Please follow him personally. Please follow our podcast, subscribe. leave us a review, and also get in touch. We'd love to hear from you about the sorts of people you'd like to meet on this podcast and topics you'd like to see. Thank you.